Hi everyone, it's Wendy. I want to use some book pages up today to get rid of some of the pieces of stuff I've got lying around. I've got a couple of baskets around my craft room, and it's when I take stuff into the living room to craft at night while I'm watching TV, then I just keep it all in a basket. Then I bring it back into my craft room and it gets left on the floor. Well, there's been 2 or 3 of them round now for a few weeks, so I'll show you first what I have made. I cleared out one of them and it had in it these envelope little hiding places. They're just like a folded piece of paper made into an envelope shape, open at the sides, and then you just make tags to slide in little journal spaces on the back. Now, some I've left hanging at the sides, some are more hidden, like so. I've put a little tab on that one. And these have been on the floor of my craft room for ages. That's just got one tag in. These is just made with coffee dyed music paper. They're empty. Yeah, they're empty. These have got little tags in. You can just decorate them up as much or as little as you wish. And like I say, there's journaling space on the back. They could just be glued to a page, and then you've got access to the tags. So that's one, and I've got these yet to make the tags for. See how they're like a tube? So they're all ready to finish off. Another thing that I had was some journal cards. So I made this one into a notebook. Just put a little dangle bead on the spine. Just use some old pages of, some is A4 pages cut up to size, and some are A5. And I made a little pocket and just put the offcuts in the pocket there for more journal space or shopping lists or whatever. A scrap of paper there made into a pocket. I think actually this was a misprint because it's printed on both sides, although that is upside down. So, and I put another pocket at the back as well with the same offcut there. So that's a little notebook and a hidden paper clip there. Just clip it on the front. So that's one thing that was cleared out. The other thing that was the offcuts from the note paper. If you see my videos previously of flip throughs of journals I've made, I very often do these little concertina pieces, just offcuts of the note paper that I use for the notebook there. Just slide them into a little belly band, and then these just get glued onto a page. I very often put them on the middle spread and just lay them out like that so that you've got access to more journaling space. So that's another thing I've cleared out. Now then, back onto these little sliding envelopes. I thought I'd use some book pages, and these are just random, quite a thickish paper this. So what I did was I folded over one side just to give this more strength, really. Folded over the other side. Now I'm going to glue that all together. Then I'll show you how I fold it. You may have even done these before. They're just a nice little easy thing to make. And like I'm sure we have all got tons of book pages to use up. Get rid of that glue. Now mine are about, I think, let me see how many centimetres wide. So they're just over 5 centimetres. So I'm just going to mark the middle, ready to get the fold. So 2.5. Okay, let's just get those out of the way. Now they are a little bit too long, so I'm just going to trim off about how much? About 5.5 centimetres, because it's a little bit too long. So what I'm going to do is fold this top into a point. Just trimming that uneven edge off there. So I'm just going to fold that into a triangle there, and that side too, just to get the point of the envelope. Fold that down like so, and then fold the bottom up like so. Then this, you're going to leave the sides open like a tube, and that's where you're going to slide your tags. So I'm just going to glue all this down, glue those tabs down, and this one like so. Then I'm just going to get my 3-in-1 just to glue this top edge here, because obviously we want the sides open to be able to slide the tags in and out. So just a thin bead of glue across the top and glue that down. Then we're going to glue this down because we don't need it. It's not as an envelope, it's just merely for decoration. I get a great sense of satisfaction when I clear these baskets out and make something nice with them. So that is your little space for your tags to go. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and we'll carry on with this one here that I did this morning. Now what I did do was I just cut a little thumb hole away at the side there, just with a circle punch before I glued it together. And I'm just going to glue this flap down as well. Then we'll get on to making the tags to go inside. Glue, come on. I'll just let that dry. Right, let me put that top on the glue and get it out of the way. So obviously the size of the opening is not going to be as wide as that because you've glued this little part. So it's probably going to be about 4.5 to 5 centimetres tag. So you can use any offcuts of paper. I've got this offcut of craft paper. Now that's too wide, so I'm going to trim a piece off to make it about 4.5 centimetres. So that should slide in there quite freely, like so. It's just catching on something there. That's better. Now then you decide whether you want it sticking out at the side or whether you just want a little bit sticking out. So I'm going to have about 1 centimetre stuck out. So I'm just going to put a little pencil mark there. Take that to my guillotine at the side here and chop that off. So that is about 7.5. Oh, that's not very straight, is it? That's because I've got stuff in my way here. So that's 7 centimetres there. Now I have one of these tab or tag punches, and it does 3 sizes. So I'm just going to slot that in and push it right in. Make sure it's in the middle, and that gives me a little tab end, like so. Now I'm going to cut myself another one from the same piece of card. Get 7 centimetres again, then they're both the same size, and chop that on the tab punch or tag punch. Getting my tags and my tabs mixed up, like so. Get rid of the rubbish. Now I am going to ink these because I like my edges inked, like so. And I'm going to find a piece of ribbon or twine to go in onto the edges there. Let me find a piece of organza. I've got this thin blue ribbon here, which will work just fine. Just going to tie that in a knot over the top and cut it diagonally, and the same on this side. Like so. It's got a bit ski-whiffy. And they can be decorated up with stickers or ephemera of some sort. I think that's just catching on a piece of paper inside there, but it should be all right from that side. And then if you put that one in on top of the previous one, it should be okay. So that can be decorated up. I think I've got some little bits here actually. A little bird sticker there. I'm going to put that on the top, and I have got one little pearl that was in the box with all this stuff as well. So I'm just going to put that just on the edge of that there. Like, not enough glue. Having trouble seeing this. The light's a bit strange today. Like so. So tell me what you think in the comments. So that's one way of using some book pages to do these. The other thing that I found in the tray with them was these tags that I must have cut out from a kit, but these work well as well. Like, these are the large ones. These measure 15 centimeters or 5 3/4 inches. So they could just be folded up like so, not quite to the top, and then down, and that gives you the same shape as well, like so. We just trim that little white edge off there. Just ink round the folds. Now this time, before I glue it, I will cut the little thumb space just to show that it's a pocket. And let's just ink that, then glue this top edge like so, and then glue this flap down. So that's one way of using the larger tags from a kit as well. And again, you can cut pieces of card. That's the piece they offcut from previously. So they would fit. So I'm just going to cut this in half. So it's just over 14 in total. And like, you can just chop the corners. You don't have to use a tab punch. Like so. And then I have this little punch here, which cuts a little hole like that. So I could just put that in, like so. Can you see that? And then I might use some piece of book page as well to put the little pull tab on. It's not very well in the middle, but it is a junk journal, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So these offcuts that I cut from the book page, I could use some of that just to go through there, just like so. Fold that up and in half, like so. Glue it together, and onto the brown card as well. Get my tissue because there's bound to be seepage on that. And then I'm going to ink that. And that can go in there like so. I think that looks quite good as well. Need to get these book pages used up, don't we? We all have them. So that is my very satisfactory using up some book pages and scraps. Well, not scraps as such, but definitely using the book pages. Glue that together, and that's the other side. Decorate that up, or don't decorate it up. They slide in and out. 2 or 3 of those would look nice glued onto a page, wouldn't they? All side by side, or on top of one another rather than side by side, like so. So tell me what you think in the comments, and I would love to hear what you think, and I do read them all and I try and reply to them all as well. And that's my little Saturday make video, and I shall see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.